welcome back to my channel. I'm James, and this channel is for everyone that loves great movies and great TV series that are released all over the world. Today we're going to be doing a special holiday video here on my top Christmas and holiday movies. So we're going to be doing a countdown from 15 all the way down to 1. And I'm going to be letting you know on maybe some hidden titles you didn't know about, but some of my favorites that my family and I watch every single year to kind of be something exciting for the holidays to kind of watch and enjoy, and maybe give you some idea of some holiday films that maybe you can share with your family and enjoy from here on out as well. So we're going to be diving in and kind of going through. I'll give you a little history on some of them, tell you a little bit of stories about why my family enjoys these and why I enjoy these, and then I'll go through and show you each one. Now, if you have any of these titles that you love or things like that, make sure to, as always, comment in the comment section below. I always love to hear from all of you, so share if some of these are in your top 15 list, as well as if you have some other ones that are your favorites as well. I always love to hear from all of you. So this is another special video series that I do here on my YouTube channel, and I've done hundreds of exclusive and special videos on my YouTube channel here. So if you're not subscribed yet, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification, because we're on track to hit 4,000 subscribers here by January. And I need all of your help, so make sure if you're not subscribed yet, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. That way we can hit our number by January of 4,000. And we're doing great, and I just want to say thanks because the YouTube channel has blown up. But to help us hit that number, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button to help us hit that number by January and keep growing this great community. Alright, so starting off at number 15 is Noel. And this is one that I originally saw way back a long time ago when it was on DVD. And they've done a reprinting of this on Blu Ray. And the Blu Ray looks way better than the DVD did. This was kind of like, I guess I'd call it an indie Christmas movie. And what's surprising is one of the biggest actors that I really love in this movie isn't listed anywhere on the box art for this. And it's actually kind of a surprise when you get into the movie. Robin Williams, this was one of his final roles. He did like a few films that were Christmas movies and things like that before he passed away. And he's actually in this film. He's not listed anywhere on the box art. Heck, most of the time when you look up the movie, he's not listed in it either. But he is actually in the movie, and he plays a very interesting role in it. And I think it's a more serious role for him, but I think he was very good in it. Susan Sarandon, Paul Walker. It's another film Paul Walker did before he passed away. Alan Arkin, and Penelope Cruz. And it's really one of those more sentimental Christmas movies. And what I mean by that is it's not a lighthearted kind of happy, joyous, having fun comedy. This is if you're in the mood for something that's more thought-provoking and more of a kind of like building on it as you're watching it. You get to the end and you realize that you missed certain things. So you definitely have to go back and watch it again here. And it gives you something next Christmas to go back and watch it again, because there are things that you notice the second time, because the story is very interwoven. And I mean that where the whole story basically has so many things tied together, different pieces of their lives kind of fall together, and it's a beautiful mosaic at the end when you realize how everything is tied together. And that's why I think it's very well done. Now, it does have some scenes that I feel like the dialogue and the acting isn't the best, because it is kind of a more independent feature. It just wasn't as well done as maybe like the Santa Claus or one of those massive big production budgets. But my family really enjoys this, and my wife and I enjoy it when we're kind of more in the mood late at night for more sentimental. It does have some, like my wife says, tear-jerking moments in it. So it is one of those, if you like a sentimental Christmas movie, it is about their lives and how kind of they all intersect, and some of them have sad things going on in their lives. Some of them have things that they think are happy but then come out sad, and then all together comes together and they realize that they looked at life the wrong way. And we're looking for things out of Christmas and out of each other that maybe they shouldn't have been. And it is really a well done movie. Like I said, there's a ton of actors in this movie. Paul Walker and Robin Williams do a great job in this. It's rated PG-13, and it's not too intense, but it is a well done movie. Let me know if you've seen this one though, because I have not heard of anybody other than myself and my family that have seen this movie. Everybody I tell about this movie says, I've never heard of it, never seen it, but I will put the links for each one of these, because some of these are really hard to find, like this one. It took me a long time to find this one. I will put the links for each one of these in the description section right below this video. As always, every video I do, if you open that description section that's right below, there's an arrow. It pops open. I will link out every single one of these So that way it takes you straight out to Amazon. So if you want to pick up any of these, you can click on that. I've done the work for you. It makes it nice and easy to go out there. That way if you don't have any of these in your Christmas collection and you want to pick up and watch these, you can click on those. It'll take you out there to buy them. And let me know if you've seen any of these in the comment section below as we're kind of going along here. Next up, we have The Grinch, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And this is the Jim Carrey one that was done by Ron Howard. I like, personally, the live action one. I think the music's in it's great. I think Jim Carrey was great in the role. I think the costume effects and things like that are really great in it. So this is my favorite, and this is on 4K Ultra HD. And if you don't own this on 4K, it is a drastic upgrade over the previous Blu-ray release. I was actually surprised at how much more lifelike the colors, and it just, overall for a Christmas film, is stunning. But I'm getting off track here. The Grinch That Stole Christmas, this is my favorite, coming in at number 14. Though we had a little bit of an argument when I was going through and making this video list, because my kid's favorite, my wife's favorite, is the animated The Grinch That Stole Christmas. So we kind of went back and forth on which one should be added to the list, and I kind of decided number 14 is going to be both. And here's why. Because I like both, but for different reasons. The animated The Grinch Stole Christmas, I think, is a little bit more cartoonish and more comedic, whereas I feel like the live action The Grinch That Stole Christmas has a more kind of like kick you in the gut, kind of more sentimental feeling behind it. And no, it's not going to be as sentimental as, like, say, Noel was when I was talking about that. But it does have a more kind of like deeper kind of meaning towards the end of it. But I like both, so I'm going to talk about both here. They're both on 4K Ultra HD, and they both look very good, especially because of all the Christmas lights and all the massive amounts of colors and reds and greens. And so both of these I highly recommend on 4K Ultra HD. If you don't have them, they do come with Blu-ray copies. So again, if you want a future-proof, you will get both on these. But this comes in at number 14, and you've probably seen The Grinch. If you're alive, I would guess that most people have seen one of these of The Grinches. But let me know which one of these is your favorite. I have both, and we watch both, but for different reasons. All right, next up is A Christmas Story. And this comes in at 13, and I really do enjoy A Christmas Story. It's one of those that I think desperately needs a new restoration and remaster, though, because it is very fuzzy and a soft picture on Blu-ray. And I have heard that they're going to do a brand new 4K restoration and remaster coming up holiday season of 2022, which would be basically a year and a couple of months from now. That's when I understand they're going to be doing that and releasing this on 4K. But for now, all we've got is the Blu-ray, and it's the best that it looks. But A Christmas Story is basically just one of those films. If you've seen it enough, it's about him wanting his Red Ryder, basically BB gun, and that's where the term comes, don't shoot your eye out, and people joke about that for a long time. And I always think of, like, the pole, when he gets his tongue stuck to the pole, frozen to the pole, and just, there's so many classic moments in this film that I really feel like if you've watched the film growing up, it just kind of grows over the years and you enjoy it every single time. I always think of the bunny costume. I mean, there's so many things in this film that are just enjoyable. Overall, a great classic Christmas movie, and that's where this one came in. It's one of those that we watch every single year and really enjoy. And the older I get, the more I find things I enjoy in it. When I was a kid, a lot of the stuff I didn't understand from the parent side of view. Now that I'm an adult and have 3 kids of my own, I understand a lot of the things the parents were dealing with the kids. So I see it from a completely different standpoint at this time in my life. And that's where my kids don't understand some of it. And now I understand other parts of the movie that I never understood before. So that's one of those things, if you have kids and you're an adult, you probably see this film from a different light and kind of see more of how frustrating it was for the parents, some of the things that were going on. Whereas a kid, you kind of saw it as, well, why doesn't he get what he wants? Or this or that, because you thought as a kid. So it's kind of one of those interesting films. It changes based on your life and how you've changed over time. But I really do enjoy A Christmas Story because it is one of those just fun holiday films that has such a great feel to it and has so many things, like when you go see Santa Claus and things like that, that just have such a great feel to it. Next up, we have Fred Claus. And as you probably figured with a Christmas and holiday theme here, there's going to be some about Santa Claus. We personally enjoy Fred Claus in my family. I think Vince Vaughn is really funny in it, and Paul Giamatti did a great job playing Santa Claus. I really thought he fit the role well, and I think overall this is overlooked a lot of the times around Christmas time. They always think of the Santa Claus movies with Tim Allen, which I will reference those later on. I do love those movies as well. But I do think Fred Claus deserves to be spoken about in that conversation as well, because it does show things from a different side and a more comedic side. And I really think Vince Vaughn was funny in it. He's got a certain comedic style that if you don't like Vince Vaughn altogether, altogether, then you're not going to like the film, because it is very much Vince Vaughn. I mean, it is so much his like comedic style. Overall, though, it has a very good story, I think, of, you know, basically Santa Claus's brother and feeling left out, and basically how that affects him, and basically the family's separated, they don't see each other, they don't talk anymore, and it's basically used as an allegory to all of our lives. And that's why I think I enjoy the film so much. My wife loves it, my kids love it, because it's basically taking the story of like Santa Claus and his brother and how they don't talk anymore, and how they've gotten separated because one of them's really popular, Santa Claus, and Fred Claus basically was just neglected, nobody wanted anything to do with him, and how basically that rift came in the family. And so it's kind of a unique Christmas movie, taking the Santa Claus story but adding in the allegory of basically family drama, which happens to all of us. I mean, heck, I have family, my wife has family, and there's always issues, and I don't care who you are or where you live in the world, there's always going to be family issues. It just seems like when you get married and you have your own family, or vice versa, there always just becomes issues with grandparents and aunts and uncles, and there always will. And you just have to learn how to work through them and understand that that doesn't mean you don't need to talk or don't need to get through it. You just need to work through it and find a way through. And that's where I find this film very well done. And if you haven't seen Fred Claus, I suggest picking it up and watching it, because it will become one of your Christmas classics that really does have a great story and great meaning to it. And if you like Vince Vaughn, he does an outstanding job with the comedic chops in this. And there are some genuinely funny, just downright hilarious moments in this film. Definitely recommend Fred Claus. Now, this is one of my personal favorite films, and I had a hard time not putting this higher up on the list. When I made this list, I went through it with my wife and we were talking about them. I wanted this one to be higher up, but then I had a hard time because as I got higher up, I realized there were some other ones that I like even more. But I really do love The Family Man. So I think a lot of people overlook or simply don't know that The Family Man is a Christmas and holiday film. And it really is, and it's kind of, to be honest with you, a lot of the ideas behind The Family Man are kind of taken from basically It's a Wonderful Life. And it's kind of a more modern interpretation almost of It's a Wonderful Life with some other twists in it. And that's why I really love the film. I think Nicolas Cage is great in it, and Tia Leone is just absolutely fabulous in it. And it really does have that just great sentimental Christmas classic feeling of the what if story. What if you would have made different choices in your life? What if you would have made different decisions in your life? How would they have affected you? And basically it's a story of Nicolas Cage's character basically goes into a grocery store. He's super rich and popular and famous, the big head of this company, and he's lived all by himself. He's all into money and all of that. Well, anyhow, he goes into this grocery store, somebody's robbing it. And Don Cheadle plays the guy that's robbing it. And he basically interjects and says, no, don't do that. Here, I'll give you some money. Don't do this on Christmas Eve. Don't try to rob this store. And basically Don Cheadle says, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this? So he does, and they walk outside, and Don Cheadle ends up basically giving him a gift and says, I'm going to do something for you. Just remember, I warned you, basically type thing. Anyhow, he wakes up the next day, and he's in a house with Tia Leone, who is his basically college sweetheart that he left many years ago to take this big job in New York that basically changed his whole life. And I'm not going to give the whole thing away, but basically the premise is that he sees and lives out his life as if he had made a different choice. And it's so beautifully done. The music in this is absolutely wonderful. Seal has a great song in here that I absolutely still to this day love. And I don't know if any of you have CDs anymore, but I still have like CDs and I put those on around Christmas time. I have the soundtrack to this movie. But I really, really enjoyed this when I saw it in theaters. And I still to this day think it's just such a wonderful film that a lot of times gets just overlooked at Christmas time. But I'm a big Nicolas Cage fan and I think he's great in this. I'd love this on 4K. Next up, we've got White Christmas, and this is Irving Berlin's White Christmas. You can't really talk about Christmas or holiday classic movies without mentioning White Christmas. Man, is it a good film. It's got Bing Crosby in it and Danny Kaye, who Danny Kaye was such a great actor. I love a lot of his classic movies, and this one is really great. Though I have a lot of arguments because some people say that Holiday Inn, Irving Berlin's Holiday Inn, is better than White Christmas. I have both of them, and I went back and forth about which one I felt should be on my list. I do really feel like White Christmas is slightly better than Holiday Inn. I do like Holiday Inn, don't get me wrong. I think it's a really great movie. It has Bing Crosby in it as well. But I do personally think White Christmas just stands up a little bit better. And a lot of people say White Christmas was a remake of Holiday Inn, and there are some similarities. but I still feel like they're both great holiday classics. So White Christmas is up there, and it is a really enjoyable film about two army buddies that basically go to a holiday retreat with their two girlfriends after they get out of the war. And they're going on a holiday retreat to stay at a war buddies, basically, hotel. The hotel's not doing well. It's basically being closed down because it's running out of money, and basically it's not doing well. So they decide they're going to help their war buddy basically revive his hotel by having a huge concert in this holiday event. And it's all about the mishaps, and it's a comedy musical is what I would call it. And Danny Kaye's funny in it as always. And Bing Crosby's great in it. They got some great musical numbers in it, some great holiday classic musical numbers mixed in with just a wonderful story about them helping others around the holidays, which is what the holidays are all about. I mean, a lot of this has to do with that we should be kind and help each other out and help others out, and that's what the whole point of the holidays is. And this movie does a great job representing that, and that's why I think this deserved to be on the list. It's a great holiday classic. Now, if you enjoy this video and you enjoy my content, please consider giving this video a super thanks. Right down below this video, there's a heart symbol that looks like this. And when you click on that, that helps to give a super thanks to the channel. All of that goes right back into the channel, helps me to keep providing you all of this special, early, and exclusive content. And that also helps me to keep this channel going. So if you enjoy my content, please consider giving this video a super thanks by clicking that heart symbol button below. Also, if you enjoy this video, make sure to give this video a like and a thumbs up for me. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss out on any of this exclusive content. And like I said, I put the links for all of these listed in the description section right below this video. So if you're going to pick this up, make sure to go down the description section right below and click through that link to Amazon. That does help out as well. Alright, number 9 here is Just Friends. This is one that I guarantee you a lot of people have never watched or thought of as a holiday film, or just probably have never seen. I'm a huge Ryan Reynolds fan. From back before he was a huge actor from Deadpool and everything like that. And he did a lot of these I just call them kind of more smaller comedies. Just Friends is one of those that desperately needs to be on your holiday and Christmas classics list. This movie is downright hilarious. Basically, Ryan Reynolds goes back home. He's basically this big producer, and he goes back home to his hometown for Christmas. He hasn't been back there for years, which isn't that a lot of the stories for Christmas movies, by the way? But anyhow, he goes back home to see his mom, and his mom's kind of kooky, and his brother's there, and it's all the things that he's trying to be cool in his hometown, seeing his basically hometown high school sweetheart, which is Amy Smart. She's great in this as well. And then it's also got Anna Faris in it, who she's hilarious as like this psychotic, like singing, like kind of trying to be Britney Spears, like just out there zany, like just it's so great. And he's going there and all the things that happen around Christmas. And I still think of the scene where he basically destroys a multi-$1,000 Christmas lights display as he's trying to be so cool and like just, it's downright funny. And so the whole thing takes place around Christmas, though I really wish they would have put like something with him with like a Christmas hat on or something, because a lot of people see this cover and basically have never seen this movie and they think it's just kind of like a dumb comedy, a romantic comedy. And yes, it does have like romantic comedy things in it, but it's all set around the holidays and the Christmas, and it really is a Christmas classic that is just downright hilarious. That no, it's not necessarily about Santa Claus, but it is around him going home for the holidays and all the things that happen around the holidays, ice skating, sledding, all the things that make the holidays and Christmas so great are intertwined in this movie. It is downright hilarious. I mean, my wife and I still watch it every Christmas and we laugh. Though I will say it is a little bit more of a raunchy, and I gotta be light there. It's not raunchy as in heavy raunchy. I mean, it is rated PG-13. And it has some like coarse language and a little bit of like sexual humor in it. But it is kind of just playing on the fact of when we go to our hometowns and we go home and we haven't seen people like people from high school or college, and we're trying to be so cool because we've grown up, and how dumb sometimes we look and the dumb things we do. And around the holidays, it's just such a funny movie. If you haven't seen this one, Ryan Reynolds is great in it. And I'm a big Ryan Reynolds comedy fan. And it really is a holiday classic. And I really do think it needs to be on your holiday and Christmas watch list. And it does have some surprising things in it because Ryan Reynolds actually plays in a big giant like fat suit, kind of like in The Clumps, which really surprised me because it was one of those things that kind of for a smaller comedy, a lot of people just have never seen it. On Blu-ray, it looks great. The DVD looked horrible, so don't even waste your money on the DVD. But anyhow, Blu-ray looked great on this, and this is the only way it's been released. And it is a fun and funny holiday movie with a really good, like, just overall story behind it. Alright, coming in at number 8 is gotta be Die Hard. Now, some people argue that it's not a Christmas movie. I don't know how you can argue that it's not a Christmas movie. Yes, it is an action, adventure, just a great classic action adventure movie, but it overall is a Christmas movie, and here's why. It takes place starting on Christmas Eve, takes place all having to do with Christmas music going on, a Christmas party, he's coming home to see his wife, and it's basically, I mean, even there's like Christmas music, ho, 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 and, you know, just so many lines that he has that are mixing in Christmas things into it. Now, it's obviously not a kid's movie. It's an adult, watch at night, action adventure, R-rated, just a great classic action movie. Bruce Willis is amazing in it, but it had to be added to this list because I love watching this movie. Heck, I love watching this movie all times of the year, but I do think it is a really good Christmas classic about redemption. I mean, you got to think about it. It does have a real story of redemption, what Bruce Willis does and how he saves people and saves his wife and the taxi driver, or should I say limo driver. Basically, there's so many things that tie together that it really does have an overall Christmas arcing theme behind it. So, this does go on the list of Christmas-themed movies, and if you don't have this on 4K, it's a huge upgrade over the previous Blu-rays that 20th Century Fox released. So this 4K does look really, really good, and I really do wish they would do all of the rest of the Die Hards on 4K, but now that Disney owns it, I don't know. Disney's so stingy with a lot of their catalog titles, especially they'll release one of them, but then they don't release the other ones later on. So I don't know. This might be all we get of Die Hard. I mean, it has been for several years. I think this came out about 3 years ago on 4K, and there has been no talks of doing any of the rest of the Die Hards. Man, I love Die Hard too. But anyhow, I do love this film. Great Christmas classic. I know a lot of you might argue saying Die Hard isn't, but this is my list of my favorites. Die Hard's in here. Alright, coming in at number 7, we've got Surviving Christmas. And this is with Ben Affleck, James Gandolfini, Christina Applegate, and Catherine O'Hara. And this is really just a fun Christmas movie to me. It's another one of those kind of like zany movies where he basically goes and rents a family for Christmas in his basically home that he had when he was a kid that he grew up in. And he rents this family, and I won't give everything away, but he rents a family, and then basically all the things that happen, they're grumpy, they don't want Christmas, they don't get along with each other. Heck, the mom and dad are planning on getting divorced. And it's all about that Christmas redemption done with comedic side. Christina Applegate with her like comebacks against Ben Affleck are just great in it. I think Ben Affleck's really good in this. And this is an underrated Christmas movie that a lot of people either didn't see or didn't give a chance at the box office and really just kind of got missed. But I really enjoy the film and think he's great in it. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit here because I didn't have enough room to do all of my Christmas movies. I was supposed to have in by this time Christmas with the Kranks. Now, this is my DVD copy. I got this on Blu-ray, but it has not arrived yet. I ordered it, and it has not arrived yet. So that was supposed to be in this mix as well. It's not, so I have to use my DVD copy to show you this right now. But anyhow, Christmas and the Kranks would have come in with this at the same point. So basically, both of these come in at number 7, Surviving Christmas and Christmas with the Kranks. So I did cheat a little bit, and I might cheat a little bit later on as well. But anyhow, these come in at number 7. Christmas with the Kranks is another one of those funny Tim Allen Christmas movies about them basically going away for Christmas. Their daughter decides to come home for Christmas, and they have this whole vacation plan. And it's how they try to throw Christmas together when their daughter's coming home from college last minute. And it is a funny movie. So these both come in at number 7. Alright, coming in at number 6 is It's a Wonderful Life. This is one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies every year to watch. And kind of like I talked about with A Family Man, it's basically the story of what if. What happens if James Stewart and Donna Reed basically didn't get together, and what happened if he didn't do the business to help people in the town? What if? And it's basically a lot of bad things happen to James Stewart and his wife, Donna Reed's character in the movie. And he basically goes out, gets drunk one night, and decides, hey, maybe I'm going to kill myself. It'd be better for everyone else if they got the insurance money and all this stuff because I can't help anybody anymore. It is an absolute classic that if you have not seen this yet, you are missing out on an absolute gem of a Christmas movie. This, to me, represents overall just a great arcing story of what Christmas and the feeling of what we are should be about. helping others, loving others, being kind, coming together, helping those in need, and we should do it all year long. It shouldn't just be one time of the year around the holidays. We should remember it all year long. And It's a Wonderful Life is just absolutely beautiful. Now, on this 4K, we'll touch on this. It is a stunning restoration and remaster. I've always meant to do some reviews on these, but with how many titles come out all the time, I'm limited by time-wise with special effects and editing how many of these I can do. But It's a Wonderful Life is an absolute gem and an absolute classic. If you have not seen this yet, you are missing out on a stellar Christmas movie that really will touch your heart. I mean, I'll be honest, every single time I watch this, when they ring the bell, and I won't give it all away, but when they ring the bell, an angel gets his wings, I tear up. I mean, I do. I'll be honest, the older I get, no matter whether you're a guy or you're a gal, if you've got a heart and you've got a soul, you can't not tear up at It's a Wonderful Life. It really is just an ultimate touching Christmas film of showing kindness to others no matter what, and remembering that even when things go bad, they're not that bad. There's always a way to look for the joy and the goodness out of life and out of everybody. So, and that's really what this touches on. So let me know if this is one that's in your holiday classics and your holiday favorites. If you want to experience this the best way it's ever looked, definitely get it on 4K Ultra HD. It does come with the Blu-ray as well in this. So you'll end up getting this, in the black and white version on this restored is just downright beautiful and the best it's ever looked. And this is the only way, in my opinion, to own this, especially with that HDR. The darks to lights and everything really made it look just absolutely great. Next up, we have Elf with Will Ferrell. Now, I just found out something interesting about this movie. Will Ferrell was offered like gobs of money to do a sequel to this. And man, he actually talked about recently he regrets not doing a sequel to this because back when he originally released it, he had basically said he wanted to do a one-off Christmas movie and then never do it again. He thought that it wasn't as popular as maybe what he thought. Now he says he wishes he would have done it years later, now seeing how big of a classic it is. But this has James Caan in it, who I love. Will Ferrell's in it, absolutely great. I love this film because it is so funny. Will Ferrell is absolutely hilarious in it. He does like his kind of just like slapstick, basically acting like he's dumb humor in it. And it does fit Elf because he literally is kind of like a child in an adult's body. So I think it fits it very well, basically Will Ferrell's humor in this. And that's where I feel like Elf is just a great holiday classic. Again, just one of those stories that basically he comes to New York and he's always lived with the elves, basically at Santa's factory. And he's getting to see humans and his basically real family, his dad, that he's never met before. But he is actually like basically a child's mind in a basically human body that he thinks he's an elf. So he does all these things that are holiday that people think he's just kind of a crazy person. And they really do. They treat him like he's like this insane, like crazy-o. And it really plays out well in the movie because it really is funny. And it has a lot of things that like he does, like singing Christmas carols, and then James Caan's like, shut up. And he sees like shorter people that he thinks are elves in the real world. And he says, well, there's a little elf. Come on over here. And the guy's like, well, I'm short. And like they play off all that kind of stuff. And it really is just kind of a funny way to take a look at like some of the holiday things that we look at and the holiday ways we do things. But I love this movie. And I did find out that Elf is supposed to be coming out on 4K Ultra HD also, but this won't be until 2022 is my understanding as well. So that's kind of a little bit of hidden tidbit for those of you that collect these holiday movies. I have it on Blu-ray and it looks decent. Coming in at number 4 is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now, there is some scenes in this that are a little bit more like kind of take you out of the movie, like some of the little like raunchy scenes it has in it, but I do think overall there is a ton of classic funny things in this movie to enjoy. I think Chevy Chase is great in it, and a lot of people didn't know that John Hughes helped write and produce this film, and he did a lot of really, really great classic Christmas movies. I had a hard time when I was making this list, not including some of his other holiday films that I really love, but I tried to limit it, otherwise we'd be talking here for like 3 hours because there's so many great ones out there. But this one is really funny and you probably already have this in your collection. I really don't know anybody that doesn't have National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. If you don't, go down there to that link in the description section below and buy it right away. Same thing for Elf. I mean, some of these are just downright classics. If you don't own them, you need to have these in your collection to enjoy because, man, these are absolutely great, funny Christmas movies. And this one is absolutely hilarious. I don't need to go into too much detail about this one because, to be honest with you, I think just about everybody I know has ever seen this movie. Coming in at number 3 is A Miracle on 34th Street, another great John Hughes classic Christmas movie. Again, he was like the ultimate classic Christmas movie, basically producer, director, writer. Man, I have some other ones that didn't make it on this list that I really wanted to talk about, but Miracle on 34th Street is a remake of the original Miracle on 34th Street, another great classic Christmas movie, and I had to debate about which one to include. I went to see this one in theaters originally, so this one holds a little bit better place in my heart than the original black and white one. I love both of them, but this one by far is my favorite. I think it's great. I think the actor that plays Santa Claus is great in it. The little girl's great in it. Overall, I think the gorgeous cinematography behind it, the pacing of it, every single thing about this film is, in my opinion, perfect. So I absolutely love this film. It's the story of a little girl and her mom. She doesn't have a dad, and she makes a wish at Christmas time when she meets Santa Claus, who's on the Thanksgiving Day parade. And everybody basically acts like this Santa Claus is just an actor on the Thanksgiving Day parade. And I won't give away everything if you haven't seen it, but basically there's some twists in it, some turns, some surprises. She makes a wish and says, hey, I would like this for Christmas. And there's things that come together, and the story is so beautifully meshed together, desperately needs a 4K release. Oh, this film would be gorgeous in 4K UltraHD. But I digress. So it is just one of those films that is so well done and so beautiful of a film to watch, and in my opinion was even a better update and remake of the 1947 classic. That's where I feel like this one is my favorite of the two. I do enjoy the original 1947 though, but this one in my opinion is even better. And just because the cinematography and everything behind it, the colors, the music is just so beautiful in this film. Let me know if you've seen this one or if you've seen the original one and which one you think is better. Alright, coming in at number 2 here. I did cheat a little bit here on number 2 because I had a really hard time when I was making this list up, and I couldn't decide between the two of these which one was my favorite. My wife says one is her favorite and that the other one comes in a close second. So I combined here for this one, it's going to be 2 titles. So this one is my wife's, coming in at number 2, is Christmas in Connecticut. Barbara Stanwyck, Dennis Morgan, Sidney Greenstreet, and a bunch of other great classic actors. If you don't have this one in your collection, it is a absolutely great classic Barbara Stanwyck Christmas movie. Everything about it is just wonderful. Barbara Stanwyck is basically this author that writes Christmas articles and cooking articles in magazines, but she doesn't actually cook. She doesn't actually have any kids, a home, anything like that. Well, her basically boss, who wants to come visit her for Christmas, says, well, I'm going to come. You can cook me all these great classic Christmas dinners you've been talking about. I can meet your kids, your husband, see your house, all of this. So she has to make up this basically house, these kids, this Christmas cooking, that she doesn't know how to do any of it. And it's such a great comedy of her going and trying to fake all of this so she doesn't get fired from her job, because she lied about it for years and lied about it in the Christmas magazine, all these articles she's written. She's this huge author. And it's such a great thing of things falling apart and her having a cook in the kitchen who's so great in it. I love him in the movie. And things are going wrong, and she's renting kids from people to make it look like they're hers, and different kids are coming to the house and babies, and they're not really hers, and so she's acting like, well, you don't recognize this child? It's a completely different child. One has blonde hair, one has black hair, and there's so many things that fall apart in it, and it's such a great Christmas movie. Man, it's a great classic, but at the same time, mine that's up here on this, which I could not find my copy, which I don't know if any of you have this problem. Do you ever have like Christmas books or CDs or DVDs or Blu-rays that you put in a certain section for around the holidays so you have them all together, and then you go to get it around the holidays and it's gone? Well, I had that problem. I went through and made this list and got all these together. I could not find my copy of The Nativity. That is an absolutely stunning Christmas classic about the meaning of Christmas. I mean, it's all about Jesus' birth, our Lord and Savior, that came down to this earth as a human to give us the opportunity to be saved. What a wonderful story. And it's one of my most heart-touching stories I love to watch every year and share with my kids and everybody. Absolutely love that story as a Christian. It's just a wonderful film. And so that comes in at number 2 with this one, but I couldn't find my copy. So I had to order another copy of that because I love watching it every year. My wife loves it. It's such a well-done film. And it's got Oscar Isaac in it, who now, obviously, because of Star Wars and everything like that, he's become big. Moon Knight's coming out. And so he's a big actor, but he was in that, and he does play Joseph in it, and he does a great job. And that film shows so many things. The music's in it's great, showing the time period and showing how Jesus was born in a barn, and he came down and he didn't make himself into this elaborate king. He was born in a barn with animals, things like that, to show that he was just like us. Just a wonderful story we all need reminded of every single year. The Nativity is absolutely great. That movie that came out with Oscar Isaac and a bunch of other wonderful actors in it is just a great retelling of the Nativity story. So if you haven't seen the Nativity story and you haven't seen that movie, go down and pick that one up, because what a great reminder that this season's not about what we get for Christmas and not about us all just paying attention to ourselves, but about the gift that was given to us, the greatest gift of all, of Jesus Christ our Lord and Savior coming down to this earth to be born so that way we could all be saved. And it is just a wonderful and a great Christmas classic that if you have not picked that up and you don't have that in your collection, that needs to be in everyone's holiday and Christmas classics collection. And coming in at number 1 on my all-time favorite Christmas movies of all time, Home Alone. Another great John Hughes Christmas classic film. Man, Macaulay Culkin and the actors in this film were just fabulous. I can't explain to you how much this film really means to me and my family. We never miss a holiday season without watching Home Alone. John Hughes did an absolutely outstanding job with this film. Yes, it has a lot of like slapstick humor and people getting punched in the face or things happening to them with the criminals. But overall, John Hughes tied it so wonderfully well together, adding in the sentimental side of basically Macaulay Culkin being a brat as a kid at the beginning and how much he changes by the end, and his parents do, and his family does, and his brother does, and just how much they all changed overall by the end. And just a beautiful look at how Christmas is and how he sees the neighbor, the old guy, being basically the scary guy, and how that changes. And just overall, the music is absolutely beautiful in it. Every single time I watch this movie, though, I'll tell you a little hidden tidbit. I do get a little teary-eyed and misty-eyed at that scene at the end when he sees the old guy and his family coming to visit him for the first time in years after he talks with him at the church and basically says, well, why don't you just contact him? And you see that we all kind of get this way around the holidays, and it is tied around basically the burglars robbing people, but that's not actually the story of Home Alone. The story of Home Alone, the whole thing is wrapped up in the idea of that we all kind of treat each other poorly, and we treat each other unkindly, whether it's family, whether it's our own kids, our own wives, our own husbands, basically realizing that we shouldn't be treating each other that way. We shouldn't ignore each other. We should be willing to forgive, forget, and move on. And John Hughes just did an absolutely stunning job with this film. It is my number 1 holiday classic, and maybe some of you would disagree what yours are, and that's fine. Each one of us has our own, and that's perfectly fine. Like I've said numerous times over the years on this channel, just because these are my favorites doesn't mean you don't have others. And there might be some on my list that you said, hey, I had others that were bigger deal or I thought were biggers. Why aren't they on your list? Well, that's because each of us have different opinions. This is mine. Such a beautiful story that I really do think tied so well with the humor and the comedy in it. Macaulay Culkin is just great in it, and I don't care how many sequels they make of it. Though I wish Disney would release Home Alone 2 on 4K. It's on Blu Ray, but they've never done it on 4K, and I wish they would. It's only a digital, and I think it's ridiculous because I do like Home Alone 2 a lot as well. No, it's not as great in my opinion as Home Alone 1, but I do want it in my holiday collection. So Disney, if you hear me, release Home Alone 2 on 4K Ultra HD. My kids, every time we watch this, laugh so hard, and it doesn't matter how many years go by. I love watching this movie with my kids and my wife. It just has such a great feel and such a fun time behind it. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Santa Claus. I absolutely love the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, but this one was hard because I kind of figured everybody knew about it. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen I went to see in theaters, and I still remember them having a big blow-up of Tim Allen in the basically fat suit in it outside the movie theater, and I thought it was so cool. It was snowing outside, and they had the whole theater decorated for the big premiere of the Santa Claus. And that's what I missed, to be honest, was the way theaters used to decorate so big, and they'd have these big blow-ups, and they'd have holiday movies that came out that were really exciting. So this one was one I just wanted to mention. The Santa Claus is such a great film if you haven't seen it. The sequels to it are pretty good as well, but they never stand up to me as well as the first one did. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a like for me. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up for me. and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. As always, these videos take me a ton of time and work to do all the special effects, the music, and the editing, so make sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and that bell notification. That way you don't miss out on any of this special and exclusive content that's only here on my YouTube channel. And as always, I have all of the links for everything that I just went through with you. I did all the work and posted them all down in the description section right below this video. When you open that up, the Amazon links for each one are listed right out there, so you can click through any of them. It takes you straight out to Amazon to order any of these that you don't have in your Christmas collection. And if you enjoy this video, please consider giving this video a super thanks. That does always help me out. It helps me to keep providing you all this content, to spend all of this hard work and all of this time, so I can keep providing you all of this content for you to watch here on my YouTube channel. And I do appreciate it, and I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all of your love and all of your support that all of you have given me over the years. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you had a fun time with my top 15 Christmas list here, even though I did cheat a little bit. I hope all of you have a blessed day, a happy holidays, and a Merry Christmas, and I look forward to doing this again with all of you very soon.